I think it's important that Congress acts now. I mean, right now. All it has to do is take a single vote to extend the middle-class tax cut.
That was Vice President Joe Biden giving a political campaign speech at a Costco store. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Rick Amato. Costco is back in the political news again and again for all the wrong reasons. A few months ago, they tried to ban conservative Dinesh D'Souza's book from their bookshelves. But because of you, the American people, they failed. Now it has been called to my attention that Costco, which is a publicly traded company, by the way, maintains a company policy which puts all conservative and libertarian-minded employees at risk of losing their job. If you are an employee of Costco and you say or do something, politically speaking, outside of work on your own time that Costco management does not agree with, like attending a Tea Party rally, perhaps, you can be fired from your job. That's just plain wrong. Joining me this time from Washington, D.C. is the person who first broke that story on this show last week, Justin Danhof. And Justin is with the National Center for Public Policy Research. Justin, welcome back.
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me on.
All right, Justin, for our viewers who may have missed your appearance on this show last week, you flew to the state of Washington, to the home office of Costco, to meet with senior executive management at Costco. And you asked them in person, face-to-face, to reconsider their policy of being able to fire employees based upon their political views outside of work on their own time, based upon their political speech outside of work on their own time. Tell our viewers once again, if you would please, the response which you received.
Sure. So, yeah, if you'll permit me, let me encapsulate a little bit about what happened at Costco and the Employee Conscious Protection Project that we're working on to try and combat this big gap that we have in the American legal system. So as it stands, half of American workers currently operate in a jurisdiction where you have no legal protections, no statutory protections, if your employer takes an adverse employment action against you for your private political actions. So we've petitioned many major American corporations to take a look at their company policies, to take a look at their codes of conduct, their employee handbooks, and if there is a gap there, to fill in that gap by saying that if you work for this company, your private political actions will be protected. And we think that's a very important value that corporate America should embrace. Except when I approached Costco with this, I got an answer that would come right out of the Obama administration handbook. The chairman of the board, his name is Jeffrey Brotman. He's a well-known progressive activist. He looked at me and basically said, "We know best. You unwashed masses shouldn't have any say." And by unwashed masses, I took that to mean the shareholders, which is a pretty interesting response considering that the shareholders are the true owners of Costco since it is a publicly held company like you mentioned.
Justin, is that an exact quote, unwashed masses?
No, that's just my impression of what he had to say. It was basically us management, we know better. Us management, not the shareholders, should have a say over how our employees are dealt with. I think that it's a pretty strange response considering the fact that they have 195,000 employees. I'm pretty sure the chairman of the board can't oversee everyone on a daily basis to make sure that some supervisor in a Costco isn't taking an adverse action against them. And the other thing that they told me is that Costco employees are free to be themselves. Well, Rick, since I was on last week, I've done even more research about Costco and what's going on there, and I have some very interesting information for your viewers. So, Costco employees are supposedly free to be themselves in the political arena, so says Jeff Brotman, the well-known progressive chairman of Costco. Well, this is a quote from the Washington Post. Costco employees also vote Democratic. Only 5% of the money donated by Costco employees in the 2012 election cycle went to Republicans. So you're telling me 95% of Costco employees are all acting in unanimity?
Wow.
And yet they're all free to be themselves. I don't believe in coincidences, Rick. And it's no coincidence that the leadership of Costco touts President Obama. They tout President Obama's progressive policies. And since your donations are public record, I think that it's not a stretch to say that these folks are trying to act in the way that management would have them act. And I think that that is one reason why Costco probably fought against our proposal, because management sure seems happy with the status quo since their workers are following suit. And when they make donations, they're donating to the progressives that would make Jeff Brotman, the chairman, Jim Senegal, the former CEO, very happy. And there's a lot more information about the tightness between the Obama administration and Costco. Susan Brotman, who's that? She's the wife of Jeffrey Brotman, the chairman of Costco. In the 2012 election cycle, again, she was a bundler for President Obama, raised over $500,000 for the president. And of course, as I brought up last week, Jim Senegal, the former CEO, he went to the Democratic National Convention in 2012, and what did he do? He channeled his inner Elizabeth Warren when he echoed her statements on, "You didn't build that," talking about his own company, Costco, giving the United States credit for it, the government credit for it, not private industry. And so these interconnectedness between the leadership at Costco and the Obama administration, it makes it makes it pretty clear why 95% of the donations, and like I said, this is from the Washington Post, reporting on these facts, that Costco employees vote Democrat.
Meanwhile, Justin Danhof, if I can jump in here, first of all, thank you for doing a great job laying that out. There's a lot of detail there. You laid it out very clearly for our viewers. I'm going to make a call to action to our viewers across America right now. If you are as troubled as I am, as Justin Danhof is, at the actions of Costco executive management, allowing themselves to be able to fire any employee, primarily conservative and libertarian employees, who have political speech outside of work, which Costco does not agree with. If you want to call on this publicly traded company to change their policy, we're going to give out a phone number right now on the screen. That phone number is area code 425-313-8203. You see it right there on the screen. That is the direct line, the direct phone number, directly to the Executive Vice President of Investor Relations for Costco, a gentleman by the name of Richard Galante. Call Richard Galante at Costco at 425-313-8203 and tell him how you feel. Let him know if you're a Costco customer, and let him know how you feel about Costco being fascist in their employee guidelines. By the way, to our viewers out there, that's the number. Spread it out on Twitter. Spread it out on Facebook. Email it out to your friends. 425-313-8203. Richard Galante. If you feel about this as I do, get the word out there and let Costco know how you feel about their fascist attitudes towards free speech. Look, it doesn't bother me that the chairman of the board is a liberal. It doesn't bother me that the co-founder is a liberal. That's their right. That's their view. It's America. But it is not their right to stifle how their 195,000 employees ought to be able to express their own freedom of speech, their own freedom to practice their political views. Justin Danhof, you want to add anything to that?
Well, the stifling is why we started this project, right? Because right now in America, we have hecklers' vetoes deciding who can be employed where and how. And so we think that in a country where we have a tremendous amount of freedoms, where we have the freedom to select our government, to select our leaders, but so few people partake in that, that's why we think this project is important.
Good point.
For employers to make it clear. And we think it can have a domino effect and spread, and hopefully your viewers can help with that.
All right, that's a very good point as well. All right, Justin Danhof from the National Center for Public Policy Research. We thank you for bringing this story to the attention of this show and our viewers. We thank you for giving us the details, and we'll continue to give that number out on this show. All right, so who will be our Mamaluka the